this this hotel room setup, man, is getting me every time. The hotel room setups get me every time, but we are back. Hopefully, now you can hear me and we are good to go. Uh, we have the 49ers joint practices day one in the books. We're going to have a lot to talk about today. There's going to be good, there's going to be bad. I'm not going to come on here and pretend like today was the best day of all days. Offense was a little bit clunky. Defense clearly lacking depth in the secondary. Charvarius Ward was still working off to the side and doing all that good stuff. Keep an eye out for Aponte. I'm going to hop on with Aponte after this. But I want to get in here and get the notes going. But again, I want to let you guys know what I saw. And again, it wasn't all pretty. It wasn't all roses and gumball drops or whatever you want to call it. There was some, some things to work through, and we're going to talk about all of it. But let's start with the good things that happened today. Some of the good things that happened today is you had Eric Armstead and Emmanuel Mosley return. Now, I didn't see Eric Armstead or Emmanuel Mosley a part of team periods. So I think it's a slow ramp up for them. But the good thing is both of them were in pads and they were back on the field. That is good to see. Jalen Moore off to the side, had his helmet, had pads, was doing his conditioning, but it does look like Jalen Moore is kind of ramping back up into action as well. But he was still off to the side with Elijah Mitchell, Charvarius Ward. Again, working through their soft tissue injuries. Didn't see Jimmy Ward, but it sounds like Jimmy Ward's a little bit more serious at the moment. I did see Jimmy Ward today, but I did not see him practicing. Um, okay, it's my thank you. The hotel setup is obviously a work in progress. So hopefully that audio is working a little bit better. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you working through. I don't have my lovely setup at home, and it's getting a little bit of fits, but here we go. Got to make sure I hold the cord in with my hand the whole time, but we're still going to go through it. Let me know if you're hearing any issues. Let me know, and I'll try to get it fixed up. But we're not here for the production value, right? We're not here for the production value. We're here to figure out what happened at practice today. So we already talked about some of the injuries, some of the guys that have returned. Today's starting offensive line looked a little bit different. You had Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, and at right tackle, you had Colton McKivitz. So that was the starting offensive line for today. As we know, Mike McGlinchey had a little bit of knee irritation, so he's still kind of working through all those good things. So that's what the starting offensive line looked like today. Also, we got to see Nick Sickell take some snaps. I don't think he took snaps in team periods, at least that I saw, but he was warming up with the quarterbacks at center. So we had wondered if Nick Sickell, the 6th-round pick out of Fordham, would take any center snaps or be transitioned towards center. Obviously, with the injury to Brunskill, it does look like Sickell is at least going to be potentially a reserve and or emergency center. So we'll continue to see how that plays out. But the centers, as we see it today, were Brendel, Sutherland, and West. But let's talk about some of the highlight plays that happened today. So starting out, first of all, before we get into the highlight plays, you already know the vibes. Smash that like button already. And I got to say what's good to the SDS. Drop an SDS in the chat if you're vibing and you're ready to hear some of these training camp updates. Good to see all the squad today. But you already know the vibes. Some of the things, and again, you guys have saw it. Eric Branch, Steph Sanchez. Shout out all the SDS. I want to say what's up to the squad. You already know the vibes. We see the squad out here deep. What's good throwback? Got all the squad in here. Let's get into it. Oh, it's one of those days. It's a different environment, here without my setup. But hey, we're back. Shout out to SDS. Little hiccup there. The production struggle is real, but again, we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the plays that were made on the field today. Um, Trey Lance to start practice looked really good. Trey Lance to start practice looked pretty good. He was airing it out. You had almost right off the bat, you had a 50-yard touchdown to Brandon Ayuk down the left sideline in one-on-one. Absolutely cooked the defensive back, stacked him, got behind him, and then was able to bring in the catch for what would have been a 55, like about a 50 to 55-yard touchdown. So that was a really good play. And then you had Trey Lance, and I believe that was on Cameron Dantzler too. If you guys recall, Cameron Dantzler was a guy that was kind of connected to the 49ers last year when the injuries occurred with the secondary. So Cameron Dantzler became someone that 49er fans familiarized themselves with. And so did Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk beat him pretty convincingly. But to Dantzler's credit, he came back and he was able to get his hand on another deep ball attempt to Brandon Ayuk on the next series that they had together. But Danny Gray and Trey Lance continuing to pick up where they left off against Green Bay. Danny Gray caught a 50-yard touchdown pass. And I mean, I'm talking about Trey Lance was airing this thing out. So about 40 to 45 air yards from Trey Lance on the throw, hitting Danny Gray in one-on-one position drills for a touchdown, and that was really really nice. And again, you guys have seen some of the highlights that have come out. Again, Eric Branch, Steph Sanchez, two people who caught the play where Trey Lance hit Danny Gray streaking down the right sideline. I'm pretty positive that it was Patrick Peterson in coverage. So absolutely dropped a dime on Danny Gray. Danny Gray just showing off the speed. The other thing about Danny Gray, just kind of sticking on Danny Gray for a little bit, he made some plays over the middle today as well. Danny Gray, to me, one of the reasons why I really was Danny Gray was one of my draft crushes coming out of SMU was he's a wide receiver who can show that I didn't even, to be honest with you guys, like when I first, and I've told the story before, I stumbled onto Danny Gray looking at a different wide receiver. I didn't even know how fast he was. I liked Danny Gray because of his ability to fight for contested catches, his ability to win in a bunch of different ways as a pure wide receiver. The speed to me is an added element to his game that just makes him that much more dangerous. And clearly, the 49ers have a quarterback in Trey Lance who's willing to exploit defenses and push the ball deep down the field and use Danny Gray's speed to their advantage. So, again, that continued kind of continuity between Trey and Gray continues to grow. And that was a pretty fun day to watch them kind of ball out. Again, Danny Gray had some other catches on the day. Jawan Jennings, Jawan Jennings had a really nice kind of back shoulder catch over the middle where he had to really square up and go up and snag the ball. I posted a clip of it. You might have seen it on some of the socials.
But that was a really good play by Jawan Jennings. Let me see. I could probably just pull it up since we're talking about it. Um, but it was a really nice throw from Jawan, or excuse me, from Trey to Jawan, and Jawan was able to go up and snag it. Um, let me see. Let's get this. Let's get this up so you can see it if you haven't seen it already. So again, you had Trey drop back and find Jawan Jennings with Patrick Pete. Went up to go get it. I think Jawan had a nice day today, which was good to see because Jawan Jennings has had a bit of a down camp. So good to see Jawan come out today. I didn't see him have any particular drops on the day, but we will get into the drops because there was a bit of a drop problem going on out here, and we'll talk about that a little bit further when we get to the bad portion of today. But we're going to stick on the good. Ray McLeod had a really good catch over the middle as well today. Um, Ray continues to show that he can make the tough catches. It wasn't a ball that was put directly on him. He had to it was kind of thrown in front of him. He had to extend and really make an effort to bring down the football. So Ray did a good job of bringing that in. I think my favorite play on the day today was where Trey Lance had pressure, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into the theme of pressure today in a little bit. But when pressure occurred, Trey Lance did a really good job, and I've noticed this from training camp. So this is a carryover from training camp into these practices. He feels pressure really well. So we've talked about it. We've identified. Remember the clip from the Packers where he feels the pocket kind of collapsing in on him. You see him duck uh, the hands and things like that, and is able to step up into the pocket and make plays. It was kind of similar to that in the sense of he had to step up, flush out to the right through the inside of the pocket, gets flat, and then throws across his body to Debo Samuel. It's probably my favorite play on the day from Trey, outside, the deep throws. But again, I like seeing Trey Lance and his ability to get flushed through the pocket and then be able to find his receiver in Debo Samuel. So I thought that was really good. And also, there's another pass that Trey had that was really, really good today, where it actually looked like it was going to be a pick. I was like, oh no. It was one of those passes that was oh no, like, oh yeah. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Trey Lance absolutely threw a laser in between two defenders and got it right on Debo Samuel. I mean, obviously, based on my vantage point, I couldn't really determine how big the hole that he fit it through was, but it looked like a very small window, and Trey Lance absolutely delivered a dart to Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel brought it in to the point where Debo would have broken free for additional yak yardage because you had the defensive backs trying to go for the ball, but he fit it in there, and Debo would have squirted out for a little bit more yards. So we'll get into kind of the not so good of the offense, but those were some of the highlights of the offense today. And it consistently hinged around, for the most part, Trey Lance and him hitting some of his wide receivers. But let's talk about this a little bit. Angel says, how has Bosa been on Twitter? And they said he wasn't doing good. I watch Bosa. Consistently draw pressures from everything that I saw. And again, they don't stop sacks, whether it's unless it's just a complete egregious sack, they don't stop them. So from my vantage point of what I saw, and I'll post more clips onto YouTube later of the whole defensive line as a whole, but what I saw from Bosa was Bosa doing Bosa things. So I heard there's like this back and forth little war going on between Vikings Twitter that saying that Bosa got clamped down today, which was news to me as someone who was in the stands and I had the defense right in front of me. I saw Nick Bosa would have had at least one sack, but potentially multiple sacks on the day. Again, they don't stop them unless it's like just they completely get in the way. Bosa does a really good job of, again, you know how he will work around the edge and fight around and get pressures. I saw Nick Bosa have multiple run stuffs today. Again, he absolutely obliterated Alexander Mattison, just absolutely came off a block from the tight end and uh, just absolutely lit up uh, the running back. So I saw multiple plays on the day from Trey Lance. If Vikings fans want to say Trey Lance, or excuse me, from Nick Bosa, if Vikings fans want to say Nick Bosa got clamped today, I'm not going to buy it. I don't buy it at all. I saw Nick Bosa collapsing the pocket and doing different types of things, constantly forcing Kirk Cousins to move inside the pocket. And to me, that is a judge of someone and the way that they are affecting an offense. Here is the play where Nick Bosa just comes off the line and just obliterated. And you can see Nick Bosa is not even going full speed. He could have if this was a tackle, Nick Bosa would have knocked Alexander Mattison into the shadow realm. But all he did was push him. And so again, I didn't see one-on-ones, so I can't speak to Nick Bosa and one-on-ones and how he did on one-on-ones, so I can't speak to that. But this is my view of team period. Nick Bosa was lined up in front of me a lot today. And I saw Nick Bosa affecting the quarterback, whether it was moving him off his spot, rushing a throw, forcing an incomplete pass. Might not translate into a sack, but if Nick Bosa is able to get Kirk Cousins scared and then Kirk Cousins throws an incomplete pass or throws an interception, then I'm going to go ahead and say that Nick Bosa is having a good day. So I don't know what the back and forth is about that. I saw Nick Bosa have a pretty solid day. And speaking of interceptions, I think the one of the lone interceptions on the day was to George Odom. So let me get that one pulled up on the screen so we can take a look. George Odom had an interception today. I don't know what the thought process here was from. I think it was a pass intended to Dalvin Cook from Kirk Cousins, but you had George Odom get under the pass and be able to pick it off. So this was a nice play by George Odom, who again is stepping in for Jimmy Ward. And so we had Tarvarius Moore against Jimmy Ward. Step in for Jimmy Ward. We had George Odom step in for Jimmy Ward. Those were the two primary safeties that played in for Jimmy Ward. Talanoa Hufanga had a really good day, I thought, for the most part. I didn't see anything really completed on Talanoa Hufanga today in a team period standpoint. And if anything got by the first or second line of defense, typically Talanoa Hufanga was right there doing Talanoa Hufanga things. So I'm very happy with Talanoa. I think Talanoa Hufanga is going to be a guy that the 49ers can rely on. So I'm really excited about his development. I think he's one of those guys that you can just you know that he's going to be in the right spot. And if he's not in the right, or like if something happens and breaks down in front of him, he is going to put himself in a position to clean it all up. So what I saw from Talanoa Hufanga on multiple occasions, if someone broke through the first or second line of defense, Talanoa Hufanga was there to get a stop. So far, liked what I've seen from that. Hallman had a couple plays on the day. He had a PBU. He had a pretty nice day for the most part. We also had a really nice couple plays from Javon Kinlaw. Javon Kinlaw made it his business to get a pancake today. So this was fun to watch in real time. Javon Kinlaw absolutely obliterating. This is a starting left guard for the Vikings. So, and shout out to David Lombardi for the clarification. I don't know who this left guard is. I'm not going to pretend like I do. And David Lombardi was able to clarify that this left guard, it's not a backup. That this is their starter. This is their starting left guard. And Javon Kinlaw absolutely folded this dude, which was pretty impressive to see. I mean, these are NFL offensive linemen paid millions of dollars to do their job. And here you have Javon Kinlaw absolutely folding this dude into the turf, taking the syrup out and just drizzling it all over the offensive lineman. And again, this isn't supposed to happen to offensive linemen. It's supposed to be the opposite way. The offensive linemen are supposed to be pancaking the defensive line, not the other way around. But again, these are the kinds of things that you want to see from Javon Kinlaw. I am not worried about Javon Kinlaw's stats. I will say it again. I will continue to talk about it. I am not stat watching Javon Kinlaw. What I'm watching for Javon Kinlaw is how he affects the pocket from the interior in passing situations, and is he clogging running lanes in the run game. I don't care. Javon Kinlaw could literally go 17 games and not put up a stat, but if he is collapsing the pocket from the interior and other guys are cleaning up, or he's forcing bad throws, he's forcing rushed throws, he's forcing guys to bounce out of the pocket into Nick Bosa, Samson Ebukam, Drake Jackson, Kamoko Ture, Charles Omeni. If that's what he's doing, I'm okay with that. I don't need now. If he puts up stats, then we're working with house money and we're getting even more than what we needed. But I'm not stat watching Javon Kinlaw. What I'm doing with Javon Kinlaw is watching how he can affect the interior of the defensive or the offensive line, and how everything works off of that. How the linebackers are going to be able to shoot running lanes. How the defensive ends are going to be able to clean up because quarterbacks are being moved off their spot from the interior. Those are the things that I'm looking for Javon Kinlaw. And again, if Javon Kinlaw comes away with a sack, if Javon Kinlaw comes away with a run stuff, a tackle for loss, great, absolutely wonderful. But I want to see offenses see this. I want to see offensive coordinators see this and then be like, we cannot leave Javon Kinlaw on an island. We can't do that, because if we do, this is what's going to happen. So these are the things that I'm looking for from guys like Javon Kinlaw. I'll post more clips again on Twitter and on YouTube. So keep an eye out. I got a lot of clips from today, but I'm going to keep posting more and more that I got, because I'm not going to lie, there's so much going on at these joint practices. Like, you know, talk about ADHD gang. Like, oh boy, there's a lot going on, a lot to juggle. You got two teams practicing at the same time on two different fields. It's a lot to like go back and forth from. But I'm gonna get some more clips on the timeline and on YouTube. Kamoko Ture continues to be one of the better players on the defense. Um, Kamoko Ture is for sure making this roster. If he doesn't make this roster, it's going to be an absolute travesty. Kamoko Ture today, I looked back at the clip. I got the clip. I'm going to post the clip. We're going to unload the whole clip. But Kamoko Ture, I think he was working on the right tackle. He gets by the right tackle with speed. He pulls up, right? He pulls up because it looked like he would have been able to either swat the ball or grab Kirk and bring him down, but he runs past Kirk, and then Kirk dumps it off to a running back, right? That's kind of just pokes out of the pocket, and then Kamoko Ture proceeds to run down the running back. And I'm like, man, we've seen Kamoko Ture win with these counter spin moves and on pass rushing situations. But again, he won with straight speed to the outside, would have had a sack. They completed the play in a dump down to the running back. And then Kamoko Ture proceeds to chase down the running back. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm pleasantly pleased by Kamoko Ture, and he's really good as a pass rusher. So Kamoko Ture had a really good play. He had multiple plays on the day. I think I was with Steph and David, and I think they charted a sack or two from Kamoko. But overall, Kamoko continues to be a guy. Kevin Givens had a couple plays on the day. Kevin Givens would have had a sack. Kerry Hyder would have had a sack. Again, the D line continues to be the D line that we all expect it to be. And let's go. Shout out. Smash the like button if you like. We're going to get to the not so good. Don't wait. Don't worry. It's not all positive. We're going to get to some of the things that weren't so good. But so far, defensive line continues to be extremely good. We saw a lot of Fred Warner and Azeez Al-Shaair today. Azeez is a dog, man. Azeez is a dog. I thought him and this wide receiver were about to get into a fight. I was like, do it, fight. Like, but he's not gonna back down, man. He is not gonna back down. Azeez, and he's all over the place. Azeez is flying to the football. Him and Fred Warner together, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see a whole lot of Dre Greenlaw today, but I saw a whole lot of Azeez and I saw a whole lot of Fred Warner. And those two guys are flying to the football. I think Fred Warner probably had one of the harder hits on the day. I'll post that clip as well, where you really hear the pads popping. Where Fred just lowered his shoulder into a wide receiver coming over the middle. Azeez taking dudes to the ground. Like these linebackers, like Azeez and Fred, we are going to be talking about, again, barring health and they can stay on the field. Azeez and Fred, we're going to be talking about them as the best linebacking duo in the NFL. Like, get ready for it. It's going to happen. These two guys together on the field. And again, like, you get guys on the interior like Javon Kinlaw who can take up two defensive tackles, and you let these guys like Fred Warner shoot gaps. It is going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I'm pretty excited about that. Our linebackers are phenomenal. Again, Oren Burks is good as well. Again, didn't see a whole lot of Dre Greenlaw, but I think he's kind of being eased back into action. So we'll see from there. I talked about the George Odom pick. I think that's about it for the good on the defensive side. Are we ready to talk about the things that weren't so good from practice today? again, we're not here to talk about it in a negative light, but we have to be objective in regards to what practice was and what it looked like. And it wasn't all sunshine and lollipops. Uh, it's it was a bit of a now we talked about a lot of positive plays kind of in a silo, but I think if you kind of compiled the whole practice together, especially starting with the offensive side, there's a lot of drops today. A lot of drops today. I don't know what that was about. You had Debo drop a pass that probably would have been a solid 30 to 35 gainer over the middle. Trey Lance kind of just found him in an open area in the field. It was a little high. I'm not going to pretend like it was right in the breadbasket, but it hit Debo in the hands, and Debo wasn't able to bring it in. I absolutely would say that's a catch that Debo needs to make. Like, and I know what you got. I know you guys know that Debo, even though how good Debo was last year, Debo did suffer from some drops. I think he might have. I think he might have been up there with leading the league in drops last year. So you want to see Debo bring those in. But again, like I said, he had other good plays where Trey Lance was able to find him. So it wasn't like it was a terrible practice from Debo. It's just that particular play. You want to see him bring it in. Then there was another play that they came. It was almost an identical play where Malik Turner was kind of wide open and hit him in the hands. He dropped it, and these were both in team period. And you're just like, what the hell, man? What are we doing here? So they dropped them. Ray had one drop. A couple guys had some drops today. So I think I saw Matt Barrows charted, I think Trey Lance of 11 of 18 with a spike. A a couple of those were drops. So also too, Trey Lance wasn't perfect on the day. Um, Trey Lance definitely has a comfortability throwing deep. That's for sure. But Trey Lance did have some errant throws. I think it's a lot of the same of the things that we've talked about from training camp. Uh, he can be ultra accurate, but he can also have balls sail on him or be outside just low and away outside. So one particular, I would say Trey's most egregious miss today would have been the lone. Actually, I don't know if it would be the lone. There was a kind of a pass to Debo Samuel in red zone period. You could argue that Debo's momentum would have carried him in for a touchdown on that particular play. So you can argue it would have been a touchdown, but it was one of those gray areas where he definitely would have met a defender inside the 5. But knowing Debo one on one with one defensive back, he is probably finding his way into the end zone. But there's this other play that George Kittle was open in the end zone, and it was either red zone period or move the ball period, and George was open. He was running. It was basically like a post, and he was open, but Trey sailed it high to the point where like it was like a pass where George couldn't even attempt to get it. So you get some of those every once in a while. It might be 11 and 16. I'm probably speaking of it incorrectly. This is Daniel said he's heard 11 and 16, 11, 17, 11 and 18. I don't I don't chart. So that I don't chart. Again, some people chart sacks, some people chart different things. So I think the number to pay attention to is he completed 11 and it was in the range of 16 to 18. And I can tell you at least 2 to 3 of those were drops. He had like one fumble today. he had one fumble. He had a really nice play to Debo, and I think it was move the ball period. So they kind of hurt. From memory, I believe they hurried up to the line of scrimmage. It was a shotgun snap, and Trey fumbled the snap. They blew the play dead, and so again, like it wasn't clean. It wasn't like a there wasn't a whole lot of rhythm today to the offense. The offensive line struggled today, big time. So offensive line was, I think Burford gave up a sack or two. I think Colton McKivitz gave up a sack or two. Is hard to see because they were on the far field, but O line definitely struggled today. I didn't see a whole lot of running lanes opened up for the running backs. Um, I would say if you had to give it a straight win or loss, uh, if you give it a straight win or loss, I'm gonna go ahead and give the win to the Vikings defensive line today. Um, so tomorrow's gonna be a good bounce back day for the 49ers O line. Today wasn't their best day, for sure. Definitely had a couple sacks on the day to the point where they actually had to blow the play dead. Um, so wasn't the O line's best day. And Trent Williams did practice. I saw some people from the Vikings reporting that Zadarius Smith got Trent in a one-on-one. Again, I wasn't watching O-line one-on-ones. They were on the far field away from me. But again, the offensive line definitely did struggle today. And I think that kind of plays into why, the offense as a whole just felt a little clunky. Didn't really felt like there was a consistent rhythm to it. And I don't think this, other than the one play that I talked about where Debo could have fought his way in for a touchdown, I really don't think there was a touchdown scored in a team period. So you want to see them be able to do that, but also the only fumble that I saw from a snap was a shotgun snap where it hit Trey in the hands and he dropped it and they blew the play dead. So that was the only fumble that I saw from a center quarterback exchange between Trey Lance today. So I saw it as it was a shotgun snap, hit Trey in the hands, ball hit the ground, they blew the play dead and they reset. So offensive line didn't play all that well. There were drops from the wide receivers. Trey Lance was accurate, but there was also times where he wasn't accurate. And again, the most egregious one was where he could and should have hit George Kittle for a touchdown, but he kind of sailed it high. Other than that, I thought Trey did okay. I don't think Trey. I think Trey can come out tomorrow and definitely have a better day. But I also think it starts up front. If I maintain my belief that everything starts in the trenches, and today the trenches didn't play well, that is going to translate to timing between quarterback, wide receiver. It's going to be translate to timing with running backs and the way they're trying to find their rhythm. So again, TDP had one really nice run that popped. Other than that, I didn't really see a whole lot coming from running backs. And typically, running backs kind of sneak through a little bit in these types of scenarios because they're not technically tackling it and going to the ground. So, again, the fact that you didn't really see a whole lot of the running backs pop at all, I felt like was again kind of translates back to the trenches and them, having a hard time on the day. We'll see how they attack it tomorrow. And that's what I'm really looking for. I think even Coach came on here and we talked about this last night. I think Coach said I expect the offense to kind of have a down day and then rebound tomorrow. And we're like, yeah, that's probably going to make the most sense. They're probably the defense is going to kind of be ahead of the curve day one, But again, offense is going to be able to recalibrate based on everything that they saw day one, and then can come back and bounce back tomorrow. So I'm not too worried about it. But the things that I'm going to be looking for from the offense is going to be efficiency, better pass blocking up front, and better run blocking up front, and catch the ball. Exactly. Coach says, we talked about this yesterday. First day, struggles and setbacks. Second day, all about improvement. Solid day, no injury, no quarterback picks from Trey. Yeah, it didn't feel like Trey put the ball in a ton of uh, weird spots. It felt like he was putting the ball in the right, like going to the right place with the ball, and he was getting there a lot of time. But again, there are drops. And again, sometimes he sailed it a little high, or to the outside. But other than that, he was okay. He was pretty good. So I'm. It definitely wasn't a practice where I'm like, oh, worried about Trey. Not at all. It's par for the course. Par for the course for Trey. We understand Trey is going to continue to have these inconsistencies in his game, but that's why we always talk about reps. Got to give him the reps, give him the opportunities, let him deal, just let him keep dealing, let him keep throwing. And as a result, he is going to fine tune the gap between misses and on target passes. Right now, there's still a pretty sizable gap, but each day he's closing that gap to where it's going to be just accurate passes and things like that. And again, every quarterback has errant passes. Hold on. There we go. Kirk Cousins threw an interception today. So, and Kirk Cousins been in the league for a long time. So it happens. Not necessarily worried about it. Let's talk about the DBs. So the way I saw it was Ken Crawley, the guy that the 49ers signed on, like, I think it was like the last day of training camp. I think it was like the last day of training camp. They signed Ken Crawley to play cornerback. It looked like Ken Crawley and Diamador and Lenore were the starting cornerbacks. Oh, I forgot to mention Samuel Womack had a really nice pass breakup. That's in the good section. I forgot to mention that. But guess what? Guess who flashed again today? Guess who flashed? Are you surprised? Samuel Womack had a pretty good day from what I saw. He had a nice pass breakup. So again, Samuel Womack continues to flash in literally every practice, like clockwork. Harris says, like it up, SDS, 389 watching, 126 likes. Let's get to 200. We should be able to get 200 in a blink of an eye. Let's go, squad. You already know the vibes. Smash that like button. I challenge you. 200 likes. Probably get to 200 likes in 5 minutes. But, based on everything that I saw, again, DBs, they're down. Again, I don't think Emmanuel Mosley played, and for a reason. Eric Armstead didn't play, and that's for a reason. It's a slow ramp-up period for them. So you got Ambry Thomas out there. You got Diamador Lenore. It did feel like Diamador Lenore was playing in front of Ambry Thomas. It felt like Ambry Thomas is getting buried on the depth chart. So I don't know if that's a good sign for Ambry, man. Especially right now when the top 3 cornerbacks aren't playing. And if Ambry Thomas is having a hard time getting on the field in this scenario, that's tough. That's tough because Ambry had a tough training camp last year. He had a tough training camp this year. Now you have all these injuries to your cornerbacks, and Ambry is still having a hard time seeing the field. Now, he did have one good pass breakup. I can't remember exactly who it was against. I think I got a video of it, so I'll have to go back and watch it. He did have one good pass breakup. But it's not a good sign that feels like he's kind of falling down the depth chart. Demo had a tough time today. Again, you're going up against guys like Adam Thielen. You're going up against Justin Jefferson, two of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I will say Ken Crawley had a pretty nice rep in red zone period on Adam Thielen, where he was blanketed on him on coverage. I mean, I think Kirk Cousins still fit the ball in, and Thielen still caught it, but I will give Ken Crawley a little bit of credit that he was draped all over Thielen, and I was like, well, okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. Obviously, you don't want to see the pass completed, but the fact that he's not getting absolutely cooked was a good sign, I guess. Trey, I think there's a couple clips floating around a Diamador kind of getting twisted up by Justin Jefferson. Again, not a big surprise there. It's Justin Jefferson. He's that. Justin Jefferson is that guy. I'll forever victory lap Justin Jefferson and my evaluation of Justin Jefferson pre-draft. I know you guys remember when everyone was talking about CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Henry Ruggs as the big three wide receivers. I was adamant about saying it should not be the big three. It should be the big four. It should be CeeDee Lamb, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, and Justin Jefferson. I even mocked Justin Jefferson to the 49ers in my final mock. Big Justin Jefferson guy. So it's actually really cool to see Justin Jefferson out there working. Justin Jefferson got Tarvarius Moore pretty good today. So I like what I'm seeing out of Kevin O'Connell and his offense. They're using Justin Jefferson kind of like Debo. So let me say this. We can talk about it from this sense. Fantasy's coming up. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have a really big year. They lined up Justin Jefferson multiple times out of the backfield. And this is how they were able to create this matchup on Tarvarius Moore, is they lined up Justin Jefferson in the backfield and they got him. I think it might have been even on like a Texas route where they kind of angle out and angle back towards the middle of the field, and Tarvarius was outmatched and just absolutely dusted Tarvarius. Again, it's Justin Jefferson. He's probably top 5 wide receiver in the NFL right now. But again, Vikings used him in a very creative way to create a matchup where Justin Jefferson is one-on-one with a safety. You get Justin Jefferson one-on-one with the safety, you better be cooking someone. So clearly Tarvarius Moore's showing a little bit of struggle going up against wide receivers in coverage. We know he got beat against the Packers for a touchdown. He got pretty good today by Justin Jefferson. So we'll see how that continues to progress. I don't necessarily see Tarvarius Moore as a coverage safety, so I see him more as a kind of downhill safety in that regard. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or anything that you guys want to talk about. But so far, again, today wasn't the best practice, at least from the 49ers offensive standpoint. But I think, again, like Coach talked about, we talked about this yesterday. We said, like, if we were to come on this live and talk about this, we anticipated there could be a little bit of a down day from the offense day one, but expect them to pick it up tomorrow. So definitely looking for a bounce back from the offense as a whole. And obviously starts with the offensive line. Offensive line needs to play better. Offensive line needs to protect better and give Trey Lance a little bit more opportunities. I do think that the offensive line struggled today. Definitely was a down day for the offensive line, but I'm looking to see them rebound and do better. Um, and if they can do better, then I think the running backs will do better. I think everyone will do better. It all starts up front, all starts in the trenches. Uh, my guy says, I honestly feel like you've been getting respect from every beat writer and YouTuber lately. Right below Mayoko and Barrows in SDS, we trust. Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, that's extremely humbling. At the end of the day, I'm just a dude who loves talking football and just thankful that I can get these types of opportunities to talk with you guys, can come to practice and just talk about what I see and things like that. Get video. Like I'm having a great time. So a shout out to everyone else too in the content gang. I mean, I got to kick it with Steph Sanchez today, 49ers K podcast. David Leichty, who writes for uh, uh, Sports Illustrated, all 49ers Sports Illustrated. I forget that. I'm sorry. I'm blanking on the name of their actual outlet. Um, but yeah, man, I appreciate all the squad. Appreciate everyone out there. The 49ers have really good beat reporters, whether it's Cam Inman, Matt Mayoko, Matt Barrows, David Lombardi, Eric Branch, Chris Biederman, Jennifer Lee Chan, Tracy Sadler. The 49ers have such a diverse content base. It's awesome. And then you got guys like this Spicy Aponte out here cooking up the sauce. Uh, you got your podcasters out there. You already know your Grant Cones. You got your. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Your Pasquinis. You got all your different pockets of content, and it's really fun to see, man. Like the 49ers, like 49ers fans should be so happy because you got guys like Aponte, you got guys all over the place cooking it up, and you love to see it. And guess what? We're gonna have to do state of the franchise right after this. So can't Crocker see Crocker? You got KP, you got Jordan Elliott, you got Stats, dude, the list goes on and on. Like I know I'm forgetting like 40 people. Um, but you got dogs in this 49ers content space. So I appreciate everyone's support for me, but I love the community that we got. It's pretty fun, man. Rob Shoe, 100%. All different types of people. But the content isn't over. The content isn't over. Wayne Breezy, Rombo, Chapman. It's crazy, bro. And you could literally go on and on and on about all the content that we got here. But that's what's cool about our space is we got people who do a little bit of everything. Got your beat reporters, got your columnists, got your writers, you got your video guys, all that type of stuff, man. It's a blast. Got all your guys on Instagram. It's a good time. But I don't know. Streets are talking. Streets are talking that state of the franchise is gonna be coming up right after this. So stay alert. Get those noties up. Smash that like button and keep an alert out for a hot new Ponte and Ginger Beard action coming up to talk about it even more. Why not? Stay of the franchise is always fire. So make sure you sub to my guy's channel as well and do all that good stuff. But I think that's it for now. because we're going to have more to talk.
Shout out my setup, by the way. There we go.
We're going to have more to talk about. Make sure you stay tuned. State of the Franchise coming up right after this with the Jason Aponte. Make sure you're subbing to both channels. Hit that like button on your. What's our like? What do we do with likes today? Huh? How did we end our show with our like goal? Did we hit 200? Did we hit 200? Huh? Did we do it? 165. Oh, come on. We can hit 200 before we get out of here. We can hit 200 before we get out of here. Smash that like button. Get it up to the moon. Listen to Ponte. Turn up. We got enough people. We got at least 40 lurkers in here. Smash that like button. Boop, 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 boop. Get that thing up. I'm pretty sure I did say Biderman, but I could have forgot. Again, there's a million people that do 49ers content at the moment. So it's a good chance I forgot someone or a lot of people, but got a ton of people covered. We're already at 190. Turn me up. 10 more. 10 more. We'll close down the stream and then get ready for State of the Franchise coming up with the Jason Aponte. Once we hit 290, we're hopping over. We're gonna get the Jason Aponte on to talk even more 49ers football. I'm looking forward to it, man. 193 closing in. You guys can do it. It's very simple. All you got to do is boop. Oh man, what a time. 200 likes and I finally find food in the Midwest. Hey, I got Raising Cane's last night. I was very happy that I didn't have to get the gas station sushi. We got Raising Cane's. I still need to figure out how to order exactly from Raising Cane's. Make sure you tap in for the State of the Franchise. You already know those episodes are lit. And just like that, we hit 200. Shout out all the SDS. The gang is undefeated. Appreciate all you guys. Make sure you tap in for the State of the Franchise with Jason Aponte coming up here in a couple minutes. We'll get that up and make sure you pop in over there and listen to what Spicy Aponte has to say today. Looking forward to it. Again, shout out the SDS. We got 200 likes on the dot. You'll love to see it. We're out of here for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Joint practices day 2. And do the same exact thing. We're going to talk about what's good, what's not so good, where they can improve, what can get better. Because again, not everything is a finished product, and they're going to continue to improve. So really looking forward to it. Harris says, going to get my taste buds ready for Spicy Aponte. Love to see it. I'm out of here, but again, I'll be going live tomorrow after joint practices day 2, and we will pick it back up again. Stay tuned. State of the Franchise coming up in a bit. We're out of here.